Well, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Cowgirl Liberty Cowgirl Network, and we are in the Liberty Lounge today. Hi, Liberty, how you doing?
Howdy, howdy.
Hi.
Welcome to the Liberty Lounge, everybody. Woo.
Yay.
Man, has it been a nice week, huh? I mean,
Yes.
it's
Oh,
so exciting this week. I can't believe all the shows that everybody has put out this week. It's just awesome. So, to kind of wind up the Saturday with our special guest jumping on to the Liberty Cowgirl Peace and Unity Liberty train that belongs to all of us, I'm so excited to have her. As everybody knows, we had the General and the Colonel on the other weekend. We all know that the Colonel's on board the Peace and Unity train already. So I promised everybody I was going to track down our state director of Colorado. I've done that. I've been so excited this week because I've been talking to her over a few conversations. She's bringing it tonight. She's bringing information to help us, but more importantly, she's jumping on the Unity train with us. And we're so happy to have her with us tonight. So, without any further ado, let's bring in Miss Cynthia, our state director for the
yay.
state of Colorado. Welcome, Cynthia.
Welcome. Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me on the program.
Well,
Yes,
I'm
good to
listen,
so
be
you know,
here.
excited.
I've been
Go ahead.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this all week. And like I said, it's our honor to have you, on our Peace and Unity train that we're taking around this virtual space and virtual environment to try and unite people and get them on board to show
Mm.
them the process. How to take our own communities back. And that's where you're going to bring us a wealth of information tonight. Anybody who watched our show with the generals know that as far as Liberty Cowgirl Network goes, Power Girl Productions, Liberty Warrior Nation, and anyone else that we're involved in, we've got a laser focus right now, and that's how to actually go about these steps associated with reclaiming the republic. And that's where you all and your fantastic organization comes in. It's I keep telling everybody I feel like it's a missing link that we've
Hmm.
all been looking for. So to take that to actually speak with you on the phone and hear about all these exciting things. Tonight, we're just going to bullet point it because, we're in the Liberty Lounge tonight, but we fully intend to have her back under the spotlight. She's going to give us an overview of four very important bills that are up in our state capital right now, and everything that she and others in the state of Colorado, our home state, have been doing to counter all of these things. And it'll be used as an
Mm.
example of what they're doing across the nation in every single state across this country. So, with that having said, Cynthia, I guess, I want to turn it over to you. How did you get involved with Restore Liberty to the extent that, because I know you're like a full time job as a volunteer and you spend upwards to 30 hours in the state capitol up here in Denver.
Correct. Yeah, so it's an interesting story. Something that, as I share, I want to encourage everybody because I was not somebody involved politically. There's been a lot of people that have been involved politically all their lives. They've understood the nation's history, the state history. They have their wealth of knowledge, and they've been in the arena for a long time. That isn't the case with me. It's
Mhm.
been just about 2 years when the Lord spoke to me and called me into this, and it started with meeting with Darren in Denver with Seth Kushel, that I wanted to go listen to what was going on with the voting and the fraudulent votes. And so when I went there, I mean, my spirit just ignited with Darren. And then it was just something I prayed into and felt that the Lord said, yes, this is where I want you. So prior to that, doing a little bit with school board, starting to reach out with legislators because I did know that the Lord was saying that he was doing something different. And so just to encourage people, like the Lord will equip those he calls. So if you feel this tug anywhere inside of you to get involved, definitely move forward and be obedient, because our part is just to be obedient and just trust that he's going to flip us on the way. And, when I say I knew nothing, I knew nothing. And so the beginning of the journey was really just praying, listening to the Lord, and him kind of navigating me into different arenas. What I found out was one of the first things that I ended up getting involved with was, in our primary elections, and we had an amazing slate that we had endorsed. But so many times what I saw throughout the race is people not really researching their candidates. It's like, oh, this person goes to my church. I know them. I love them. And there's a difference between loving somebody as a friend, right? And then saying you're the best person for the job. I mean, Liberty Cowgirl Girl, I could be your greatest friend ever. And I can say, hey, I'm going to go start cutting hair tomorrow. And I'm not.
You're not coming near my hair.
So
good analogy, Cynthia.
so there is a difference. And so, but there's so much that gets taken. I feel like it's personal, but it's not personal. We all have our strengths, right, in our areas of opportunities. And so with Restore Liberty, it was exciting to come on board. It was already established. Darren, first of all, you all have had him on. Blaine, amazing men of God.
Wow.
I haven't met every single director, but I've met several of them, and they're all there's a common, thread. And that is that we do want to restore the original intent of the United States, which is a vision of restore liberty, going, and holding to those constitutional values, as well as with the Declaration of Independence, and holding various public officials accountable to that, right? Because now you've got the thing coming in that the Constitution, it's a living, breathing document, and there's all this perversion beginning to infiltrate. And so we want to stand on that original intent. And so to have a coalition that's across the nation and even international, I mean, we have coalition with people, organizations, media, it's just amazing. You have so much already established when you come in, and we're talking, if you're needing help in a certain area, there's mentors, so you have other people to mentor and help you, and you share, your different strengths with one another. It's been amazing. And then there's other outside organizations, and hopefully I'll get a chance to touch on a few of those. One of them that I'm going to bring up is STARS. It's STARRS.us. And they have been doing amazing work, and we have a great partnership with them. It stands for Stand Together Against Racism and Radicalism in the Services. And so you have two former military, high-ranking military officers, Ron, that co-founded that, and they've been doing a lot of work globally with lawsuits, with the vaccine mandates and everything. So that's just one example. You're able to connect with these different organizations and you help one another. So it's been great.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic.
I think it's fantastic, the reach. And I know, this isn't anything new. Y'all have been out there establishing this for a couple of years now.
Right.
And like I said, I just think that, and, there's lots of organizations out there. I want everyone to feel free to go and vet who they want, because that's exactly what I did. I looked around at a lot of organizations, and it's important that you align yourself with when you feel is going for the greater cause. And right now, although we're trying to bring everyone together, and it would be nice to say, hey, we can get everyone under one umbrella, like the colonel or the general said, that's kind of an impossibility. That would be nice to think that would happen. So it's under an umbrella you're comfortable with, and
Exactly.
This one, I said, I'm going to tout all over the nation. It really aligns with what to me is simplistic thinking and just common sense. We all know that it was important, and we zoned in on the Colonel's Practical Tactical
Yes.
bag, which really outlines how people can run for city and county commission and council offices. You can serve on local advisory boards like a citizens council, run for school boards, testify at commissions and hold them accountable to their votes, and eliminate the CRT theory on all levels that is dividing everybody across this country, and so on and so forth. You know them, you're part of the organization. But what's more important is, and I'm going to keep pushing it, people don't are unclear what they can do, even if they're just sitting at home, and say they can't get out to a location or can't physically go to a rally or do something. There's
Mhm.
plenty of things that you can do at home, like
Absolutely.
writing the letter or the messages to thank yous and volunteers. Because let's face it, everybody who gets involved is a volunteer.
Mhm.
Uh, so volunteers like to be thanked too. That's a job. We always tell everybody every little thing is a job. Our viewers that are watching the show tonight, they're committed, and their job is supporting us as independent broadcasters out there trying to get the message out to the people. So everybody's got a role to play in that respect. Um, but I think where people and the disconnect and the confusion comes in. Okay, so people that are fighting school boards are having great success. We know that that's going on here in Colorado in a very big way, particularly here in El Paso County. And I know you're going to speak to my home county here in a minute, Cynthia, because you're well versed on what's going here locally. And people know that they need to get involved with serving affidavits on their local
Mhm.
city councils and county commissions. But what people don't know is, aside from serving that affidavit, where is the recourse? Because we know this affidavit
Right.
process, you could serve a board with 80 affidavits. It doesn't really matter to them. In the end, it's great for the record, no doubt about it. But what
Right.
happens after that? And I think what you're going to bring to us and bring to the table today is, once you get something, how do you get it into the bill? Track this all the way up to the capital of everybody's home state, and walk them up the stairs that you climb every single day, and walk them down the halls of the capital when you walk into one of these hearing rooms, and fight for one of these things.
Right. So I'm going to start off a little bit with just kind of some of the things going on in El Paso County and what I've seen. And I think that El Paso County, I don't want to isolate just to that, but it is truly what I consider the conservative stronghold that's left in our state. And the reason I say that, not that there aren't other counties, but we are the largest county in the state. We are one of the largest counties
Mm.
actually in the nation. So there's a
Mm.
lot of power that comes through El Paso County. And so when the Lord initially called me into this, he also, began to speak to me about El Paso County and the strategy that he had for El Paso County and some of the things that were going on. And so that was really unveiling. And so I'm hoping to just touch on a few things, obviously not get through everything, and then kind of transition a little bit into what's going on at the Capitol. Because
Yes.
when I
Yes.
started, a lot of people, and this is important because we have this name is going to come up on the mayoral race, right? I'm out of the city. I can't, so I can't vote in that race, but I definitely, people don't realize name recognition a lot of times is what wins the vote. And so there's a
Mhm.
name that's been siphoning around, and I'm going to mention this name and say no instead of veering towards this name. Actually steer yourself away from this name. And that name is Wayne Williams. I don't know how many people are aware of Wayne Williams. He brought Dominion. So a lot of you that know about Dominion into
Mm.
our state. Okay. Let me give you a little bit about his resume. He also is a senior advisor for Runback Election Systems, which is Arizona based, but they provide ballot printing and mailing. Okay. They also have processes that assist with signature verification. So you've got somebody bringing in Dominion with this runback background, who also is part of a website called Election Official Legal Defense Network. You can go check it out. It's actually the initials EOLDN.org network. And so, and then let's talk about his resume, even in the political arena. He has been Secretary of State. He's currently on City Council. He's
Wow.
been a commissioner. He's been a clerk and recorder. Now he's running for mayor. His wife is county commissioner. So that's another thing, is these married couples and their position. And there's a
Yep.
few of them throughout our county. And so, how are you supposed to break in here? And so this is somebody I'm not going to, I haven't endorsed anybody for mayor. There is an event coming up this Wednesday, and it will be at the Church for All Nations at 6 o'clock that you can go listen to the mayor debates. And, but Wayne Williams is somebody, you guys, we need out of El Paso County. He needs to get fired. So I want to start with that because that is so important. The other thing that's super important is there's been a huge battle going on within the El Paso County GOP. And
Big
Vicki
time.
Tompkins, amazing woman of God, amazing chairwoman. But we have the state GOP, which is run by Christy Burton Brown, not been friendly to the El Paso. Matter of fact, helping others to come against Vicki, spewing out lies and all kinds of things on Vicki. So without going into too much detail on that, we had a huge victory, and Vicki Tompkins is still the El Paso County chair. We've got Todd Watkins, who ran for sheriff, who we endorsed with Restore Liberty in the sheriff's race. He is the vice chair, and we've got Adriana Cubo, who's amazing. She is actually the secretary. And then within the other districts, the grassroots are the majority right now in El Paso County. So that's a huge praise God. And I will tell you, it was all glory to God. It was complete miracle, and everybody was able to see that. So all I'll say on that is don't believe the media on Vicki Tompkins. Do not believe what the Gazette puts out. All of these other, it's not true. She
Nope.
is an amazing woman of God.
Liars, liars, liars.
I am so
Unfortunate.
glad that you are on my program talking about my hometown here because I've been watching all of this crap unfold for months.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
I've been
bet.
sitting back, waiting for the right time, seeing how things unfold, Cynthia. So thank you for bringing this not only to the Liberty Cowgirl Network, but more importantly, locally to the people here in Colorado Springs, Colorado, and here in El Paso County who need to hear this because they have the media opposing everything that's good for the people here in this town. And I'm tired of watching it happen. And we're going to start speaking out against it on the weekly here
Yes.
for all of our community here in Colorado Springs.
Absolutely. And so, looking at the GOP, one of the greatest ways that you can get involved that I did is to either become a precinct leader or a delegate. And so reach out to the GOP office here in El Paso County or whatever county that you're in, find out exactly, hey, I want to know when these caucus meetings are. How do I get involved as a delegate? Because then you get to vote when you're involved in the caucus, you get a vote in who gets put on the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge. And so El Paso County, that was amazing. We had amazing grassroots people who began to step up to fill these slots as just as delegates, which is very minimal commitment. And you get to go to all the assemblies to vote, to get people on the ballots. Matter of fact, we just had a bill that came up through the Senate, SB 23101. What were they trying to do? Trying to shut down our caucus system. Why? Because there were so many people that were petitioning on, okay, versus when you go to the caucus, you get announced from the floor, people vote for you there, right? And that's what gets you on the ballot. Well, a lot of these guys that are getting in, they know they're not going to win getting to the floor. They know they're not going to get the people's votes. So what do?
Right.
They bypass it and they say, I'm going to petition on. And so they go pay somebody to go get signing their petition for, to go out there. They don't even go out there to get the signatures themselves. They pay somebody to go get the signatures. They petition on. So what were they trying to do on this 101? Basically making it to where a petition's the only thing that's able to happen. Shutting down the voice of we the people, right? And so thank goodness it failed in committee. So that another miracle, praise God. And so but get involved in your local caucus, get involved in the, just go in as a delegate or precinct leader. That's like the baby steps to get involved. And then you can worry about going into the central committee. And if you're interested in doing something like executive committee in your local GOP level, you can do that. But, if you just want to start off, and basically, I think it was the one night that we went and voted on delegates, we had to show up, and then there were 3 assemblies I had to show up for, and they're all day long, and that's it. So that's something very easy, and yet you can have a huge impact. The grassroots need to, and it's gotten better, but we need to infiltrate and squeeze out everything of the establishment, those that are the wolves in sheep's clothing, normal world wolves in sheep's clothing, so that's really important. And then also on a local level, we talked about the GOP. They've got state GOP elections going on the March 11th. If you're a bonus member, or if you are like a chair or vice chair within your GOP, you get to vote. And so that's going to be going on. And we need somebody in that is also grassroots conservative. And I'm going to tell you, when people are looking at the state GOP elections, we've got a lot of people out there. Tina Peters is running. You've got
I saw that.
Wow, that's fantastic news.
Tina Peters is running, and so is Lundberg, who is a former House representative. But I'm going to tell you who we're getting behind, and I'm going to tell you why. We are 100% endorsing Dave Williams for the state GOP. And I want to tell you why. All these people are amazing people. They've got amazing skill sets. Again, everybody's skill set's different. Dave Williams is the only one that's had skin in the game on the local El Paso level when the battles have been coming again and again and again. He has been in the center of that battle. Okay. All these others, they're great. There's a new gentleman, Aaron, that I wasn't even familiar with before. Listening to him, it seems like an amazing man of God. So this is in no way personal, but who's the best fit for this time and hour? 100% Dave Williams. You've got to have somebody that understands the climate today, not a ways back, the climate today.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to have somebody that understands the strategy that needs to take place, right? To get back our GOP with conservative, grassroots, godly, principled, people into place, and to help them succeed in these races. Dave Williams is going to do that. He was a House representative, and I've watched him fight on the floor. I've watched him continue to fight here in El Paso County. He's a man who says, this is what I'm going to do. He does it. So that's the reason we're behind him. Also has a tremendous understanding of government overreach and what that looks like, and will stand boldly and courageously on the values of God and our Constitution, and always looking at the guy behind and picking him up and helping them along. So if we have amazing grassroots candidate, they're not getting promoted, he's going to help them. So
you know what, Cynthia, that's what we call on Freedom Friday a we the people candidate.
Absolutely. 100%. Can't say enough great things about Dave Williams. So, yep. So that's who we're behind.
Well, this is just awesome, because it's important to know, and one reason for having you on here too, not only because I want to be more involved in what's going on in my own backyard, but to let people know there's a Cynthia in your state. You all have state directors. If there is a state that there isn't a director, there's a contact somewhere else. So people need to go to restore-liberty.org, right there on the screen next to Cynthia's name, and sign up. There's a lot going on there. Reaffirm yourself and your oath to this country to help defend it. It's very empowering. I'm telling you, there's something about reading that and formally submitting that form for whatever effect it was supposed to have, it had it on me. Because it's just really empowering. It really tells you, I'm in this. I'm in this for the long term. I'm in this for the long haul. And it's a process, like Cynthia described, that has to happen in each and every state across the nation. And it's happening slowly but surely. So if there's people out there that are confused of where to go and what to do other than serving affidavits on county commissions, this is how to actually affect change on the higher level, on the higher realm, and get involved in actual bills. Now, speaking of bills, Cynthia,
Yeah,
explain to us, and this is where I told you, and I told her on the phone, I said, I have to admit this. I don't even know the process myself.
I know.
So I'm going to be learning right along with everybody else how this process is done. And there's no shame in that game. Like I
Mhm.
said, we never knew we would have to be involved and oversee this process. We thought that's what we were electing people who get paid to do the job was supposed to do. But since they're not doing their job, we, the people, have to step in and do it for them. So,
Yeah,
Cynthia, give us an example. I know there's 4 bills up in
absolutely.
Denver right now at the state.
So before I forget to, when you go to restoreliberty.org, there's a link to say contact. And if you're in a different area, you don't know who your state director is, please, go in there and say, can you please give me, can I please connect to my local state director, and they'll be able to help you. So I just want to get that plug before I forget. And also, I do send out email updates. So as we get into legislation and we talk about bills that we need people to provide a testimony, if you want to get on my email list, also just put something in there so that you get my contact information, and I'll make sure you're on the updated list that goes out. So, but back to your question, and I'm glad you brought it up that you didn't know the process. I didn't know the process. I was last year asked to be an aide and got involved at the Capitol last year. So I wasn't a volunteer. I was actually working there and doing Restore Liberty, but thank goodness the session is short, right? And even it's like baptism by fire. You're like, okay, so I'm here. What where do things begin, and how do they work? And so, but if there's some links that we're going to put after the show, and I'm going to email those to Liberty Cowgirl, and so we'll specify those links. And one of them is going to be about how to follow the house schedule and what's going on at the house. So, and before I do that, if anybody is interested in prayer, we do daily prayer at the Capitol. Please show up there, 7:30 a.m. in the basement, by the stairs. There's
Wow.
seats and
Yeah.
benches there. There's always going to be
Mhm.
one person sitting there. We really need people and their presence to be there. We pray together, just the few of us that are there in the morning. And then afterwards, you can go into the gallery. You can pray over the house reps. You can walk through the building, pray over. You can walk around it, pray. We need prayer warriors. So that's another way I really want to plug to get involved is please, please, please reach out to me if you have any questions, and I'll put also a link out on that too, how to sign up. Get yourself signed up. If you're at a church, please promote that. Get others. We need prayer more than anything. Nothing happens without the prayer. So I really want to emphasize that before we go into this. But so with the process, I mean, basically each House representative has 5 bills that they can put forth. So here's another reason to stay in contact with your senators and your House reps, all your legislators, is they have bills they can put forth. Talk to them about what you want to see and what's important to you. If you don't share what you're passionate about, or share your voice, they can't carry your voice into that Capitol. So the first thing is they get 5. Once they get those bills and they type them up, there's a whole process it goes through just to make sure it's written right and everything. But you can either start it in the House, and so each bill that starts in the House will be labeled HB the year. So 23, that's why it was SB 23-101 that I'm talking about. That one started in the Senate. So depending on where it starts, it's either H or S.
And
So after
HB
that,
stands for House Bill, SB stands for Senate
Senate.
Bill, for anyone who's wondering.
Correct. And so, and I actually just kind of put something, I'm going to put something in front of me just in case I just actually skip over a part, because there is this one part that
Well, we're going to have you back several times, so don't worry about that. You're going to get your information out for sure. Right,
well,
Liberty?
after that, it goes into the chamber calendar and it gets assigned, for public testimony, it gets assigned to a committee. So we have different committees. They've made some changes to some committee. One thing that confused me in the beginning is they have the House State Civil Veterans Affairs Committee. It's really long, but I remember I was looking at this bill and it was going into that committee, and I'm like, this has nothing to do with civil affairs, veterans. Why is this in there? Just for the general public too, it is also known as the Kill Bill Committee. That's where they send bills they want to immediately kill. So if it doesn't apply to the title, know that that's the intent. Okay.
They send that to the Veterans Affairs Committee. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
That's the state of the
Wow.
country that we're in, folks.
Yes.
If they want to kill a bill, they just send it on down the line. That's how well we're taking care of our veterans. That should tell you right there.
So, but it can have nothing to do with veterans, but it just goes under this.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says our veterans are not being serviced. That's what it tells me.
Right. So they do have they have had some veteran bills going off with disabilities this year. But anyway, so then once it gets tagged to a committee, that's the first place where you can testify. You can testify in writing. You can do it via Zoom, or you can do it in person. And I'll make sure to get those links up below to where people know this is how you go in and testify. Okay. You'll need to know the bill number to be able to sign up, but you sign up how you want to do it. And so then you go and you testify. And so each committee has just a small number of people, anywhere from, I don't know, it can be anywhere from 5 to 11 people. So you're just speaking to that committee. It has to get voted by a majority before it's going to go out of committee. Now, when it's in committee, the bill sponsor who's putting forth the bill, or the committee, they can bring forth amendments at that time as well to alter it. Okay. And so if it gets voted forth, they vote in favor of it, then it moves on from committee to the House to go to the floor. So committee is considered first hearing. Second hearing is considered on the floor. This is when the debate happens. This is when it's a voice vote. It is not a recorded vote, but this is a time where other amendments can be brought forth. But this is where you'll see the battle begin to take place, and then the opposition and all the different perspectives. There's another committee called appropriation. So if there's anything to do with financial, that becomes the place so that has to sidebar into appropriations. But anyway, so that's the basic flow. After, if it passes seconds, then it goes into third. Typically, you don't see it's third and final. This is where you'll see the vote on record. So you can actually see the screen of each representative or each senator, how they're voting, and it's recorded. And all this is public information. Watching this is all public. And so it's at that point then that it moves on. And if it started in the House, it has to go to the Senate. If it started in the Senate, it has to go through both chambers, okay, before it goes to the governor's desk. Now, typically you don't debate on thirds, but there are times that there can be further, I guess, for lack of a better word, discussion. And so you will see even this session, we've had some things happen on a Second Amendment bill where it was unjustly shut down in the seconds. They weren't allowed to continue the fight. So they brought it into thirds. And then you have a limit on, how long you can go to the well, which is when you go down in the front and speak to it. So, so that's the basic overall process that happens. So I don't know
That's
if
a
you
Yeah, what a
fantastic, you
great
did a great
overview.
job of explaining that process. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so it's pretty basic when you have it in your head. But even when you go online, right, and you want to see the recorded votes, you have to be careful because there's sometimes recorded votes just for the amendment. And so you have to look at what it is. And that was very confusing for me in the beginning because I would just go, okay, well, let's go to the most recent and let's see who voted what, and found out, wait a minute, I was looking at the wrong page as far as recorded votes. So that can get a little confusing when you're in there. But,
Oh, I can
just
imagine. I can, the first thing, one of the first things that when you were first talking that really, got a bing, bing, bing for me was the mentor program that you talked about. I can tell you that I can imagine that stepping on the floor of the House or the floor of the Senate, either way, is a lot like stepping into a trade or something because you're learning a whole new language, you're learning a whole new culture, and like you said, it's easy to get overwhelmed. It's easy to not know where to start, that people don't know what they don't know. And then there's option paralysis. So a mentor is an incredible value. So if you're getting mentors through Restore Liberty, that is a really great resource. I can tell you for sure, because I just listening to all this, I can totally understand why people don't get involved because it feels like it's overwhelming. And and Liberty said very well in the beginning, just start with pulling up the website. And I've seen they've done some new work. So I actually when I tried to pull it up a week and a half ago or so, I wasn't
it was
able to. It looks like you guys have redone it. It looks
yeah.
fantastic, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Restore Liberty's redone their site. So
Yeah, looks great. You
yeah.
guys did a good job.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great to have a team. So somebody, I mean, we have a Mississippi, and I'm going to give a shout out to Rebecca Cheney in Mississippi. She is phenomenal when it comes to legislation, and she's part of the, she's involved with the Freedom Caucus. And when
Oh,
it
I
comes
love
to
the
the
big
legislation,
fan of the Freedom Caucus,
yeah,
Jim Jordan, all those guys. Those guys are
yes,
amazing.
yep.
Love to watch those guys.
So she's
Best thing
in
on
Miss.
TV right now, guys. You're missing out.
She's in Mississippi and she works with them, and she's absolutely amazing. So when it comes to legislation, definitely she is somebody that, I kind of lean more on. And then obviously being with the House reps as well, you begin to learn because it's a whole nother language. And so, and I
Oh,
have
yeah.
not mastered it. There are times that I'm like, wait, I'm reading this like this. Is this the way that this is being read? But and then there's mentorship too within the house. So, and when you're doing, even volunteering or even as an aide, typically you're not on the floor, but you go up in the gallery, and a lot of times I'll just sit up in the gallery and I'll be praying. But it's great because
That's
you
such
can
a great
watch.
thing.
Yeah, you watch what's going on, you intercede. So and then you can watch kind of who's doing what.
Yeah.
And so, and then I just share with the public, hey, this happened today. We had this many Republicans, but they weren't standing, on this bill, or they weren't standing against this bill. Or so I try to keep the general public updated because, as we said, it's a lot. And so if I can simplify it and let them know without them having to go dig around and say, hey, here's a couple bullet points that you can watch, or something that you can read. This is what just happened, and recap it for them. And
Yeah.
so I'm finding that is getting a tremendous response through my emails. People are very responsive, saying thank you for letting us know,
Mhm.
and then they're starting to write their legislators because of that. So actually, the one of the first things that I put out was day one. We had a Speaker of the House who is a Democrat get nominated, and we had it get seconded through. And I'm not going to repeat all the details. People can go back and look at day one, but it was through a Republican, and we put forth a Republican speaker nominee, and we didn't get all the Republican votes.
Ha,
The
imagine
majority of
that.
the Republicans voted for the Democrat. So
Hmm.
so these are things that I brought forth. These are the things that, people started emailing and holding them accountable, and they don't want to be accountable.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. They don't.
But I will say the great thing is to encourage people to keep doing it. I've watched certain legislators actually begin to change and move a different direction. So your voice and reaching out is making a difference. Prayer makes a difference. So we're praying for
Oh,
these
yeah.
guys and reaching
Mhm.
out and talking to them and saying, hey, listen, I'm watching. The more people they know are watching them,
Mhm.
the more accountability, the more they know, wait, next time if I go run, these guys are in the know. They're not going to vote for me.
Mm-mm.
They
I mean,
know it's
Cynthia, if you're in the basement praying on a regular basis, I mean, you're gonna reclaim this nation under God. That's all I can say. I don't see any other way that's gonna
Amen.
happen. It's such a powerful thing. I'll never forget the first time I went to my capital in Sacramento, and my grandfather was being honored there. It was a really beautiful day, and I can tell you that just being inside that building, just even talking about it gives me chills. I have one of those people that have always been interested in politics, but like Liberty Cowgirl said, not only do we can't beat ourselves up because we have been bamboozled, guys. We've been attracted with professional sports and Hollywood and movies and movie stars, and look over here, look over here. Don't look over here where we're doing and taking care of everything that matters to you on a daily basis. Don't look over here. And don't look at the district of criminals. Don't look at your local governance. And we learned the lesson, didn't we? We've learned the lesson over the last couple of years of not just how lied to and tricked we've been over the last 50 or so years, however long we've had TVs in our living room, but also how far down the scale we are and how desperately we need to get involved, because we talk about this all the time on Freedom Friday. We're now at a place where it's either, make it or break it. We're either going to lose our country and our grandchildren will not know what freedom was, or we're going to get involved, we're going to take over it. We can't have a government of we the people without the people.
without the yeah.
The involvement of the people, and that's
Right?
what we're trying to keep everybody focused on right now, because we know they're trying to keep everybody distracted with balloons and things, and
Look over
Absolutely.
here, look
all
over
this
here.
drama playing out on the mainstream media to keep people from doing what we're doing here tonight, which is
Right.
actually arming people with the tools and the information that they need to go to their local communities to take back the governments there. And Cynthia, you are just a great example of American women who are stepping forward in a
Mhm.
leadership capacity across this country, ma'am. You're to be commended. I'm in awe with your knowledge, and I look forward to hearing more of it,
Mhm.
because so many people don't want to step forward at this moment in time. And so, for those that are out there doing it, you're the people that I want to highlight,
Yes.
showcase, put into the spotlight as people that Americans can look up to for information, help, and resources on how to get out of this mess. So, I can't thank you enough for what you're doing, what the colonel and the general are doing. We feel honored to have you, your entire team, and your entire organization available to the American people as a resource for this very valuable information that I feel is just missing right now,
Mhm.
and that people need so desperately, because the answer is right in front of us. The plan is we the people, in case you haven't figured it out. And,
Yeah.
Power Girl and I are going to do a whole pop up show on this whole plan that, people are so enticed in right now, because this is the plan. What we're
Right.
talking about here tonight, this is the plan. We, the
Absolutely.
people, in action that is attainable, action that is possible, and a way that everyone can help this country, do their part in helping this country in whatever way it is. Call up and see how you can volunteer doing anything, whatever, whatsoever. We have a lot of people at home right now for independent broadcasters that are handicapped and so forth, and they're out there doing research, volunteer research for people because they're trying to do
Wow.
what they can to help people. So, there's no excuse why anybody cannot find a place for themselves to get
Mm-mm.
involved in reclaiming the republic, because we know it has to be reclaimed. We're going to get into some of these information updates and this whole psychological mind operation that's going on, and this whole disinformation campaign in the mainstream media. We got to, that's all going on in the background. But again, laser focus. This is the most important to me. This is the most important realm that we could be turning our attention to at this point in time, where we're at with this country. Of course, we're going to keep a track of what's going on worldwide and so forth. But you know what? We're going to let the experts worry about what's going on in those realms. We're going to let our military do their job and whatever it is that they're doing, and not sit here and try and figure out what it is that they are doing, but just to
Mhm.
support them, pray for them, love them, and do
Yes.
our
Yes.
part and what we can to make it happen on the backside for the
Yes.
brave people that are actually sacrificing their lives on behalf of the American people to help reclaim this republic back.
Woo!
So, that's my soapbox for tonight.
Woo!
But
Absolutely, though. It is we the people. And again, yes, I will reiterate, we are the plan. And so um, God is calling forth people in this time and hour. So if you feel that tug, that's my encouragement, is whatever that is, like I said, our job is to be obedient, let him take care of the rest, and he will equip you. And there's all kinds of arenas. I mean, there could be something creatively that, we're discussing certain things and ways to get involved, and I'll tie off with those at the end. But, there may be something that hasn't even been thought of. Maybe you're called to pioneer something new. A dear friend of mine is doing that right now with everything going on in the public schools. She's got GAO. I actually teach algebra there on Wednesdays, and it's Great American Outpost. You can look for it on Facebook. But if you need a supplement to homeschool, she is
Ooh.
a pioneer doing that, and it's amazing. So there's a lot of volunteers where we are guides and we're facilitating these classes to help parents, and it's not costly, and so it's an option for people. So even on that level, right, it can be anything. So but yeah, and right now we've got 4 bills being sponsored by Democrats coming up. We've already had some that we've had to hurdle over, but they're after our Second Amendment rights right now, and so I'm going to just talk about a few of them. One is being, like I said, it's starting in the House, so it's going to have an HB number. That one's going into committee on Monday. The other 3 are SB numbers. They have not been. They've been maybe assigned to a committee, but not given a date. I can't remember if they haven't been assigned or they don't have a date. But anyway, they're pending. I have on here waiting to be assigned. So waiting to be assigned to committee. But this is what we need. We need people. I'll share each of the bills. We do need people to testify in committee, but we also, if you are interested in testifying, writing up a testimony for the floor, for when it goes into seconds, please reach out to me. We need stories and or examples of real life situations of where your firearm came and protected you, or maybe I got one from somebody who's older who lives out in the middle of nowhere. If some crazy comes, the only thing she has to defend herself is a weapon. So testimonies like that. So we need both. We need people to show up on Monday to testify, and I'll put the information out there too. And then we should probably see it hit the floor maybe by Friday. And so we need the seconds. And if people want to do that, they can reach out to me. But the first one that is coming up on Monday, it's HB 23-1219. And it's a waiting period to deliver a firearm. So this one establishes a waiting period before a firearm seller may deliver a firearm to a purchaser. The waiting period is a ladder in time of 3 days after the initiation of their background check of the purchaser, or when the purchase is approved following any background check. So, anyway, and one thing I want to highlight here, and it talks about fines if this isn't followed, but some people go, well, this isn't a big deal to have a waiting period. I want to go back again to the Constitution, right? We have the right to bear arms. When we look at some of the bills, I think what's really challenging for all of us is we've been so indoctrinated that the government gets involved in all these arenas of our life. And it's almost like we have to get unindoctrinated with that concept. And so to do that, is very challenging. So we have to think, is this the role of government? Is it the role of government to dictate when I can get my purchase my firearm? No, it's not. This goes against, we have God-given rights, right? We have constitutional rights. So that's coming up on Monday. Really important. We've got two other ones that are quite, to me, they're pretty concerning. All of them are concerning on some level, but we've got, so these will be easy to remember because it's a SB number 23, but it's 168, 169, and 170. So they're, right in a row. So they were, when they were putting these out, it was just right in order. And the first, let's see, one is gun violence victims' access to judicial system. This is one that I'm very concerned about. As well, we're concerned about all of them, but this one, I want you to think about the fact. So current law, so I'm going to read a couple of parts of it. Current law limits product liability across against manufacturer of firearms and ammunitions to situations in which there was a defect in the design. Okay, so right now there's product liability actions, right? If there's a defect in the design or the manufacture of a firearm or ammunition. This bill repeals that limitation. And now it's going to define the terms of firearm industry member, so product, and requires each industry member that is engaged in manufacturing, distribution, importation, marketing, or wholesale or retail sale of an industry product in Colorado to establish and implement reasonable controls, precautions related to the industry product and its control. So basically, it doesn't prevent an industry member from being liable by somebody else purchasing a firearm from them. Okay, so now you're putting more strict guidelines on if I sell, Liberty, you a firearm and you end up doing something, illegal, whatever, I can take on that liability. Okay, so one of the things that we want to think about is, first of all, what's the goal of putting forth the bill? Obviously, you always have to think about, okay, what is the bill saying? And then what's really the intention about it? But think about how many people are going to want to sell weapons in Colorado if there's this really terraneous accountability. How can I control somebody else's actions once they purchase? If I've done my due diligence and I've done the background check, and now you've made me wait for the background check, right? Now you're coming back and you're changing this liability from just defect to further, So anyway, very concerning. You can go read them. I know it's challenging. Even when you read it, you're like, wait, what is this saying? So
let's get people to where we're going. We're up against the hour right now. We got a couple of minutes left. I want to send people to where they can get all this very important information, especially people from here in Colorado, regarding these bills that are coming up next week. Cynthia, I want to have you back next week sometime to let us know and further educate us on the bills that are forthcoming and how we can help with letter writing and so forth. I know there's a lot of us who can at least do that to help you out, and we'll review some of those more in depth. We're going to put you under the spotlight so you have a longer period of time. So I want to just send it around for final thoughts and your contact info where people can get you.
Absolutely. So, a couple of things that I want to just shout out is if you go to YouTube at Mountain Air 7-4, and I'll put this down, there's little small clippets of videos going on in the house. So, also Liberty Scorecard, search Colorado Liberty Scorecard. You can look at how your House representative or senator is rating on conservative values. It's not perfect, but it's a good gauge to see where they at. If they're rating at 38% and they're a Republican, I'm sorry, they're not standing on Republican values. The majority of them, I'm going to tell you, the majority of our Republicans are below 70%. Okay. So if you are below 70%, your parent's going to tell you, hey, not good enough. You need to work on that score. So let your representatives know that. Another organization is CHEC, CHEC. If you go and check them out, they're Christian homeschool organizations. So I want to get some of these plugs in. And again, go to restoreliberty.org. So get involved, educate yourselves and others, testify, go to school board meetings, write and call your legislator, volunteer. You can even volunteer at GAO, which I mentioned, which is the homeschool group, and teach. You vote. Voting is a great way to stay involved, right? Involvement in your caucus. Reach out to your county GOP. Research candidates and issues prior to voting. Hold your legislators accountable. You can donate to Restore Liberty as well. And finally, pray, pray, pray. Don't lose heart. God has already won this battle. We are just following through what he's asking us to do. Trust, believe. Don't look for certain outcomes in the natural. Just trust that whether you see it or not, God is moving in the spiritual, and there's things that are shifting right now, and he is making a difference. We just may not see him manifesting yet, but he is making a difference. So I just want to encourage everybody there.
That's
Amen.
great.
Thank you. Power
Yeah.
Girl, quickly.
I just want to say thank you. Thank you, Cynthia, and thanks for showing up, and what an incredible warrior you are, and thank you for all the work that you're doing. And let's not let Cynthia do all the work, guys. Let's get out there and get involved. Like Liberty Cowgirl said, just do something. Just do something. So yeah. You can get in touch with me. The best way to get in touch with me is Telegram. That's a way to keep up with me. That's Power Girl Productions Presents channel on Telegram, and that is not only all of our amazing Patriot podcasting networks that are released there on that channel, but also the news that Power Girl is watching. And how is she staying so on top of the news? It's because I watch these incredible alternative news channels and podcasters and all of these incredible people that are standing in the gap for where the media has completely let us down. So yeah, that's the best way. Telegram, Power Girl Productions presents. All right, that's me.
Awesome. You can follow Liberty Cowgirl on YouTube, at Liberty Cowgirl Getter, Liberty Cowgirl Nation on Rumble, at Liberty Cowgirl on Twitter and True Social. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in. We're going to have Cynthia back on the regular. Cynthia, thank you so much. This is just the beginning. We've got a lot to unpack with you in Restored Liberty, and we're looking forward to doing that in upcoming episodes. But thank you for everything that you brought to us today. And I personally want to thank you for helping